Okay, welcome to this YouTube video. Now, I've been reviewing and reflecting on my YouTube channel and realised that for what I know, which without sounding big-headed is, a fair amount in terms of training, nutrition, health, etc. I don't talk about it enough. I'm not giving enough value or educating enough really on these YouTube videos. Obviously it's great, days in the life, weekends in the life, but that's very much just what I get up to. Is there really that much value in it? Probably not. Okay, it might look good that I'm jumping off a cliff, but is it really going to help and change anyone's life? Probably not. I've just realised, I think I might have burnt my nose. There we go. Anyway, so what I want to be doing over these next couple of weeks is basically just creating videos, going through sort of things that I've learned, things that I know, and just trying to give as much value and education as I possibly can. Okay, I've been training now for 8 years. Started when I was 17 to try and get better at football. That didn't help. I fell in love with training itself. I enjoyed helping other people. And fast forward to 2025, I'm now fully online working. I've got fantastic clients I'm helping with improving their body shape, getting ready for certain events. So I clearly know a few things. I've done photo shoots, I've done holiday preps in terms of trying to get in shape for different holidays like Zante. So I know a fair bit when it comes to that. Obviously, I've also done triathlons, I've done the Ironman, I've even done Hyrox. I've actually done 2 Hyroxes, which, that was before it became this new craze. That was when it was good, rather than something everyone does. But yeah, I believe that I know a fair amount. So I want to have this channel to give information, give value, actually educate people along the way. Don't get me wrong, I will throw in a few videos a little bit more, what I'm getting up to. I'll go to Barcelona in 2 weeks for a month, so I'll be filming that and, what I get up to of such, because I think people enjoy watching people. But for the main purpose, I just want to give value, educate people for free, and just sort of show and just talk about what I know and how I can help. If I can help one person that watches this video, that's a win for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump onto the laptop. We're going to go through a little presentation, going through the key pillars to getting into peak physical condition. Okay, starting off with this, running through what I would be doing, how I've gone about it, how I've helped my clients go about it, and we will jump on to the laptop right now. Right, we're currently in the makeshift office, which is the bedroom in Cyprus. So a little bit quieter, not as many kids jumping in the pool. So I wanted to go through key pillars to achieving peak physical condition. Okay, give a little bit of education, give a little bit of tips and tricks. I've certainly walked the walk. I've done photo shoots, got in good shape, done endurance events. So I would say I've achieved peak physical condition. I still don't think I'm quite at my peak. I'm only 25. I think I've got a few more years left. But basically, I wanted to delve in deeper in terms of how to go about this as a sort of like a step-by-step blueprint, you could say. Now, we're going to start off first, and it's very cliche, with the mindset, because move me out of the way. Because I believe if this is not right, then your training, your nutrition, and everything else is going to be a lot more trickier, and you're going to find it a lot more difficult. Okay, because what we want to be doing is having the mindset of, I want to be in great shape. I want the benefits of what being in great shape brings. So we need to make sure that mindset and sort of our actions align with that. So you are going to have to think different to how you currently think. If you're watching this video, you might be on your way to your peak physical condition, but you're not quite there. Okay, so that is a mindset thing. Okay, so you're going to want to change the way that you think and almost think like the future you who is in the place you want to be. Okay, again, it's quite cliche, but you want to think about and act like the you that is, 8% body fat, carrying a good amount of muscle mass, really confident, progressing well in their career, earning X amount of income per year. That's how you want to think, as opposed to the current you. Okay, so it's that sort of switch. Now, sacrifices will have to happen. You will have to miss out on going down the pub, eating whatever you like when you're going out for food. That's all part and parcel. That's the norm. That's what normal people do. That's what most people will do. We're wanting to sort of be thinking more in terms of peak performance, thinking about, achieving something that most won't. Okay, therefore we've got to do things that most people won't. So this is not me saying you can never go out and drink, never go out and enjoy a bit of food, or go out with your family, go out with your partner. But it's about just being smart with your decisions when you do so. Okay, so if you are going out, thinking about banking calories, thinking about being more conscious with the foods that you're consuming, calories with your alcohol, thinking in advance, as opposed to just pressing the fuck it button. Now, there will also be days where energy might be low, stress might be high, externally from work, partners, this, that, and the other. You know, you may not want to do your cardio or your training. You may just want to have a whole box of cereal when you get home. But again, as I've said here, this is where you want to think back to, was the version of you be doing this? Chances are no. The version of you that is in fantastic shape, super confident, and someone that people want to be around, they're not going to be sacking off training because they've had a stressful day. It's a non-negotiable. Okay, so mindset's in the right place. We're thinking right. We know where we want to be. The goals have been set as well. That's going to put you on the right lines, and it's going to make the training, the nutrition, all that little bit easier. Okay, so that's the mindset stuff. Now to the more nutrition training. We all know what it takes in order to get into great shape. You know, you could ask someone who maybe doesn't train or eat very well, or, you know, focus on recovery, this, that, and the other, and say, can you give me 3 things that will make someone get in great shape? And they'll say, probably train quite hard, make sure you're eating the right amount of healthy foods, and don't go out on the weekend and drink and eat kebabs afterwards. You're not a million miles off. Obviously, there's different things that we can look at. Obviously, here with the nutrition part, we want to be aware of sort of calories and macros to a certain degree, because for most of us to look at the way that we want, and when we quote unquote sort of peak physical condition, it's going to be 12% body fat or below. Now, again, this is going to look different person to person, and it's very much why visuals are a lot more important than an actual number. But we're going to be wanting someone that's lean. Okay, you don't want to be carrying excess body fat. You want to be fairly lean. Definition. And yeah, that's a photo of me at around about 12% body fat. I'm leaner than that now, but that to me is probably the most that's me fairly heavy, fairly chunky. So we want to make sure obviously our nutrition is in the right place. Okay, so for most people, I would be definitely suggesting a dieting phase for 6 to 10 weeks. So, you know, get in, be fairly aggressive, get as much body fat off as possible, get in a really lean state, and then we can think about, right, do we want to go into a gaining phase? Do we want to continue the phase that we're in? Do we want to maintain this, that, and the other? Okay, so that again is going to depend on the individual. Now, in terms of a few like macro breakdowns, I'm not going to go into it in terms of numbers, etc., because I've done so before, but we're going to be looking at around about 2 grams of protein per kilo. So if you are 80 kilograms, you want to be consuming around about 160 grams of protein. Okay, I'll spread that across 4 or 5 meals per day. And that's just going to be making sure you have some form of protein with each meal. Over the course of the day, you will eventually hit the number that you need to. You can use obviously supplementation as well with protein shakes or whey protein, and that will obviously help with that. With carbohydrates, I like to just prioritize these pre and post workout. You know, if we're in a deficit, calories are going to be quite low. Carbohydrates are going to be a little bit lower as well, because we want to make sure protein is at 160 grams, and we want to make sure our fats are in a good place from a hormonal perspective and also from a satiety perspective. So carbohydrates are going to be a lot lower, therefore we want to prioritize these before and after our gym sessions. They are our body's main source of energy. They're not a bad thing. They are going to give us the energy to go into the gym, train hard. They're also going to give us the right fuel after our training session to help with recovery and everything else. Okay, and then the rest of my meals, as I said here, would be mainly protein, fat based. So it could be, you know, eggs and cooked in oil. It could be eggs and avocado. It could be Greek yogurt, some nuts, for example. So protein, fat. Caffeine I'd be using to help with cognitive ability. So for me, I'll consume the majority of my caffeine in the morning when work block is a little bit heavier. I can also use it maybe before a gym session, and also can help with suppressing appetite. You know, it is an appetite suppressant, so using caffeine as a tool can be really beneficial. However, I wouldn't be looking to consume it too late on in the day, purely down to the fact of it is going to disrupt your sleep. Okay, I don't care if you say that you could drink coffee before going to bed and sleep fine. Unless you're tracking it, how do you know you sleep fine? You probably find out that your sleep's not great from a REM perspective and a deep sleep perspective. Okay, with foods as well, as you can see here, I'll be keeping mainly whole foods. You know, you have like your protein bars or your protein this, protein that. Most of the time, that from a digestive perspective, they're probably not the best. You know, I would be going for a whole food approach. I know I mentioned earlier whey protein is a supplement. That's one of the ones I would recommend for most people, especially as most people struggle to get their protein target in, and you know, that's going to obviously help. So limit the processed foods as much as possible. Obviously, your whole foods, your proteins, your fats, and your carbohydrates. You'll digest a lot better. You'll feel a lot better, and that's obviously the main thing. Now we're going to training. Again, I have tried all different training splits. GVT, German volume training back in the day. I've done bro splits, push-pull legs, upper lower, all of it, even high rocks training. Put my hands up to it. And for me now, I think after sort of 7-8 years of training for what my goals are, where I want to be with my training, I found the perfect balance. Okay, so for me, that works out as 3 full body sessions per week. So I'm hitting everything twice per week because I do a full body push, full body pull, and then a full body session. Okay, so enough frequency, there's enough volume, and I'm able to progress and enjoy the sessions. Not spend hours in the gym either. You know, I want to be out doing other stuff, especially if I'm out in the sunshine like here. I want to be in the gym for an hour max, and then go out, enjoy the beach, go down the pool, this, that, and the other. Okay, 2 cardio sessions per week. One is a lower intensity, steady state cardio. That could be like a bike ride. It could be a nice easy run with some friends. About 45 to 60 minutes, again, just focusing on that more aerobic capacity when it comes to my cardiovascular training. And then one higher intensity workout, okay? That could be a circuit, it could be a class, it could be some intervals with your running. Again, working more the anaerobic training system, which is going to be sort of higher in terms of our max percentage of our heart rate. So that's the training. 12,000 steps per day is easily done, something that I would be recommended for most people. Keeps expenditure nice and high. You're burning through calories through NEAT, which is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So it's a fantastic way to burn more calories without really doing too stressful. It's going to be too stressful on the body. In terms of your training split, you know, you could have the most scientific training split with the most scientific exercise. Obviously, everyone's program is going to be very different, dependent on their goals, their ability, the way they move. But to me, it's going to come down to your training intensity, your execution, and obviously your ability to recover. So a few things I'll be asking myself is, are you getting stronger over a set period of time? Are you actually connecting with the desired tissue? So are you doing a chest press and actually don't feel it in your chest at all? Potentially, you know, quite common for a lot of people. So actually thinking, right, I'm trying to train this part of my muscle or muscle group. Can I actually feel it across the full set? And also, have you taken your set all the way there? Have you gone to failure? Have you gone to 1 or 2 reps away from failure? Personally, I would go 1 to 2 reps away from failure. Because not many people know what true failure is. But also from a recovery perspective, I would say 1 to 2 reps shy of sort of going all out till you can't do any more. And obviously prevention of injury. You know, going all out on a barbell back squat, if you're on your own, probably not the best bet. So yeah, you could train with the best training split, but how you train is way more important. So make sure that you train hard. And as I've said here, cardio should be in. It's the most important muscular group in the body, not your biceps. So make sure cardio is involved. Okay, it's going to help you feel mentally alert. It's going to make you feel sharper, and obviously it will help with your recovery, and it will also help with some of your higher rep sets in the gym. So do not neglect any form of cardio. If we look at recovery, as you can see, this is very much overlooked, something I did previously. When in my earlier years of training, I would just train 6-7 days a week, 6-7 days in a row. Sleep, my sleep's always been okay in terms of I was never really going to bed too late, but I never really understood the importance. I had no routine. So recovery is very, very important. You know, quality over quantity for me when it comes to maximising health and fitness. I want to be efficient. I don't want to be doing stuff that I don't need to do, because more training sessions does not necessarily mean better results. Okay, and more protein does not mean more muscle mass. You know, it's one of those things where it's about working to the maximum capacity that you can, recover as hard as you can, and then repeat that process. Okay, so let's say, for example, you've had a really stressful day at work, sleep was poor, and you're going to go into a gym session. Take that into account. Okay, maybe push the gym session back a day, maybe just go in there, think about more of the execution of the reps as opposed to trying to get stronger. Nice and simple. But like I said here, a few things to think about: sleeping 7 to 8 hours per night, having an evening routine, trying to stay off your screen in the evening, keeping your bed as a place just for sleep as opposed to scrolling on your phone, which a lot of us do, or watching a television. Obviously your rest days as well, make sure that you spend obviously on recovery and not trying to do too much from an output perspective. And obviously you can look into the 1%ers, like your saunas, like your steam rooms, cold plunges. There's different facilities that you could use on rest days. But again, for me, if your sleep's not right, all the others are just probably not as beneficial. You could also do some mobility work, staying on top of any injuries and obviously helping prevent them. But for me, train hard and make sure to recover harder. So there we go. That's a little bit more in terms of how I would go about getting into peak physical condition. A few things that I do and a few things, and all the things that I tell my clients to do as well. Okay, it's really that simple. It can be like a minefield out there. You know, what is the best training split? How much should I eat? Is this too much protein? There's loads out there. So I would just say, get good at the basics, be consistent as always, find what you enjoy, because enjoyment in training is huge. If you enjoy something, you're going to put a lot more into it. You put a lot more into it, you're going to get a lot more out of it. So make sure, I'll try and do this before the laptop dies, to make sure you enjoy your training, because you're going to get far better results and it's going to obviously be sustainable long term. Nail these for 3, 6, 9 months, 12 months plus, and you will definitely be unrecognisable. As I've said here, both mentally and physically. Obviously, physically, you're going to be in good shape, you're going to feel more confident, but also mentally, you're going to be more energetic, you're going to have more ideas. You may look at starting some business that you've always thought about doing. You may work your way up the career ladder. There's a whole other thing. It all rolls into one, okay? Because ultimately, especially for myself, it started off with going to the gym because I wanted to look better and I wanted to get better at football. It then turned into my career, and now it's allowing me to travel the world, live life, have more confidence, help loads of people, which is one of the most fulfilling things you can do, and it's a win-win. Okay, so that is how I would go about getting into peak physical condition, both mentally and physically, so peak condition in general. And just remember to stay at it, okay? Remain consistent, and you will achieve the desired outcome. Not 3, 6, 9 weeks. It's going to take longer, okay? You want this a lifestyle, because that's going to allow you to obviously keep up the habits that you've built with that right mindset and finally achieve what you want. So I'm going to wrap the video up there. Hopefully, like I said to you earlier, it's going to give you a little bit more value, and I can give you a little bit more of an insight into sort of things I've done in the past, what I get my clients to do, and just give some education out there for free. You might have missed as well, in the description, I've brought out my 3-day training program, a full body push, full body pull, and a full body session. It's completely for free. I'll put the link in the description below, so if you want to download it, then head down to there. But other than that, thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, like, subscribe, comment if you want any other videos like this, and I will see you on the next one.